What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Tom Waits' discography. Today, I'm going to discuss, review, not play music from, rank among the other 15 that I've already done, his 1999 release, Mule Variations, officially his 13th. I'll put the list up at the end of where this falls among the other 15. So this album drops after a 6-year absence without any music, which prior to, there was a 5-year absence at the end of the 80s into the 90s, but this was a pretty long stretch. And that opening song on this album, Big in Japan, almost sounds like I'm back, you want to know where I've been, I'm big in Japan, I've got this. It's this awesome swag, over the top, just one of those bold, brash Tom Waits rockers. Opens up with just this like kicking the doors open, storming in, I'm here. And then we get a double album, essentially. It's like about 70 minutes long. It feels like a double album. And it also feels, it's not really like it doesn't quite have the same overall ragtag, eccentric, underground, almost like, everything but the kitchen sink type vibe as Swordfish and Rain Dogs and Franks, and then even the stuff after that, the soundtrack, the Bone Machine, which was sort of like Mortality meets like the 80s trilogy. But this is very much almost like he doesn't really have anything to say that he has to say, but he has all of these tools in his tool belt. So when he wants to make music, we can get everything from like an opening Big in Japan stomper, which kind of sounds like that 80s stuff, but also has a little bit more of a tighter, streamlined 90s production. But then we got these other over-the-top things on this album, like Eyeball Kid, Filipino Box Spring Hog, which have this big, brash, loud, aggressive sound, which would have fit on anything in like the past, 15 years that he released anything. But then we also have a lot of like really absolutely awesome piano ballads, which sound like his 70s stuff. We have some like more like lo-fi type ragtime blues, which sounds like, again, the 80s stuff. We got a mix of everything in here. And I don't feel like, other than the Titan production on that opening song in particular, which does have more of just a shine on it, a polish on it, but it's still very much a Tom Waits ragged thing. It doesn't feel like the ball's being moved forward at all. Like we're still on the same field, playing the same game. We're just doing it incredibly well. I just don't know if there's any real big revelations as far as like going to a different musical neighborhood and breaking any new ground. Like Bone Machine, for all of how it was instrumentally similar, percussion driven to everything that was in the 80s, those 3 iconic 80s albums, the obsession with death, the obsession with violence, the dark tones of Bone Machine definitely took us to a new place. We're not as dark on this album. We're definitely to maybe a slightly brighter place. We have like a couple like outright love songs on here. But this feels like a getting older, a getting wiser, but still musically adventurous in the palette, like not inventing new music, but still the palette is a nice spread palette that represents 70s, 80s, 90s. Kind of rambling because I really, really think this is a great album, but I think it's missing something. There's like a heart or a soul, and I think it's because it is so like representative of so much of what he's done. There is this almost like end of a career. It's not. We got more albums to come, but there is this almost like, I can do whatever I want. I'm just going to do it and make music again. I don't know. But I really like it. But I'm trying to defend my ranking ultimately at the end for it before I get into the songs. Big in Japan opens up with some comeback swag. It really almost like, hey, where have I been? Doesn't matter. I'm big in Japan. It's like, I got the cheese, but not the spread. It's like all these like things he's got, but then he doesn't got. He's just like bragging the whole time. Awesome opener. And almost opens up with this weird little almost muted percussion thing that seems like it's like more tied to that 80s thing, but we go into this bigger production thing. And I think that's almost like, hey, like a trick. Like, oh no, that's the old Tom. But then we end up going back to that anyways as the album goes on. But an awesome opener. Big in Japan is a great song. Next song, Low Side of the Road. This is more like a lo-fi, low-key, kind of that junkyard blues vibe, but it's got a great vibe. It really is like he's just kind of slowly hiking, talking about, characters who live on the low side of the road. It's not the side you want to be on. Hold On, which is a more traditional, almost like Jersey Girl type ballady vibe that's just absolutely brilliant, about this couple sort of struggling through life type narrative. Nice, catchy little chorus. In the midst of all this sort of character angst in the lyrics, you have this little nice melodic little pocket of the chorus that just keeps you invested. That's the beauty of Tom Waits, these dark lyrics, but then these little melodies that keep you wanting to come back to experience these dark lyrics. Get Behind the Mule, dark, another dark long tail, this mid-tempo, kind of low-key type junkyard blues, just 7 minutes of like some slow burning intensity. The end of the story ends with a hangman's noose. So you're getting some Tom Waits intensity here. But it really is. It's like he's just pulling out all the tricks on this one. House Where Nobody Lives, pretty straightforward, folky, slightly country type rock adjacent ballad. The Home Where Nobody Lives is a home without love. So, yeah, right there. Cold Water, which is this like woozy sort of mid-tempo electric bluesy rock. This is that typical kind of like bigger, brasher sounding, like subversion of like a blues rock sound, but, with like these just heavier beats. That Tom Waits sort of just pound you mentality. That's a pound you song. Pony, which is quiet, rustic, low-key little ballad, as songs named Pony should be. I don't know why I always think of Pony Boy from The Outsiders when I hear this song. Like, wasn't that C. Thomas Howell? He always seemed just a little more delicate than everything else. This song maybe seems a little more delicate than everything else on this album. What's He Building is this really weird tale of this character, and Tom Waits is describing all these aspects of this character, and then there's this refrain of like, what's he building? What we need to know what he's building. It's our right to know what he's building. He's not building it for the children. What's he building? He doesn't have a dog. And it's just this really weird, intense, very the personality and charisma of Tom Waits is coming through. And it's one of those songs that does give this album the sort of a double album indulgent. There isn't really an overriding theme vibe to it, because this really does stand out as something weirdly different. Like if it was later in the album maybe, or the opening song, who knows? But it's a weird little thing, and it's this weird little mystery. Like, what is he building? At times, because he doesn't have a dog, it makes me think the character is Frank from Frank's Wild Years, because his dog got lost in a fire. But I don't think so. Then we get Black Market Baby, which is this nice slow ballad, this junkyard vibe. It's almost like you're like slowly swaying and moving through a black market. It's got this like great electric guitar just kind of dragging through the whole thing. Cool little song that evokes visiting an underground black market. Eyeball Kid, this is like one of those big percussion heavy, just attack type songs. Even has that 16 shots from a 30-06 like clang of like hitting a metal pipe. That clang pops up a couple times in here. Very much evokes that earlier sound. This one's a little bit calmer than that, but it's got that clunky percussion, a little bit of Captain Beefheartian energy in the vocals. Picture in a Frame, nice piano ballad. Chocolate Jesus, this sort of doesn't go to church on Sunday, but he finds solace in a chocolate Jesus. This is like a haunting, like there's a rooster sounding, there's some harmonica, acoustic, little lo-fi, spiritual blues type number, but subversive in all the Tom Waits sort of ways. Georgia Lee, really nice piano ballad. Why Wasn't God There for Her? This does not turn out well. It's a sad tale about Georgia. The melody of this is a very 70s Tom Waits melody. Just kind of gets you. Filipino Box Spring Hog, big, brash, loud. Almost too big and brash and loud, like it's a jarring. When this song drops, it's a little jarring. Like maybe it should have gone earlier in the album. Take It With Me, really nice, intimate, reflective piano ballad. This is just your prototypical Tom Waits piano vibe that we've heard before, but he's older, he's more contemplative, he's lived decades more than the last time he was doing this. And then we get Come On Up to the House, which it's like these couplets, and the last line is always in Come On Up to the House, has this sort of mid-tempo folky stomp to it. Love it. It's a great way to close the album. Great vibe. Album opens and closes really strongly. A fantastic album. Like, there's not a bad song on it. If it lacks anything, it lacks a cohesive sort of narrative, I feel, from start to finish. It does just feel like a double album of, hey, I have all these songs. Let's do a bunch of creative things. Let's have a good time. I really, really enjoy this album. But I think in comparing it to the run of albums that we got from Swordfish and Rain Dogs and Bone Machine, those just have some sort of like focused intensity about them. But this is just lacking just a little bit, just a little bit. But it's still it's a great album. I would S tier this album if I were tiering these albums. So where would I rank this if I had to rank it among the other 15 that I've done? I have it there at number 6. So I still have those 80s runs in front, and then I got those two 70s albums, which I absolutely think are genius. Small Change is just perfect, and I still think his debut, just a perfectly simple, to compare his debut with everything else. I mean, he has grown, but I think the simplicity of that debut and some of his all-time greatest songs are on there. So yeah, but that's where I would rank them. But yeah, that's it. Those are my thoughts on Mule Variations. It's a good album. It's like a great album. But yeah, it's if we were to chart his sort of like, the Tom Waits roller coaster of career, like he starts high and then he just kind of gets good, and then Small Change we peak, and then we kind of go down, and then we kind of peak again with Blue Valentine, but then the 80s is just this peak. Bone Machine's a peak, and we're not quite 80s or Bone Machine, but we're up there pretty close to the top of that mountain with this. But yeah, all right. I'm rambling at this point. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on this album, things I messed up on. Primus is on this album, by the way. A lot of Primus in this stuff. So anyways, all right. Not all the songs, but some. All right, peace. Talk to you later.